G'day everyone, it's James Davis, the Director of Academy down here in APAC, and just a quick industry thought bubble. I've been having a lot of conversations with MSP owners lately around the need for contracts, and we're so proud of the fact that we've got so many clients that we've had for a decade or two now that we've been able to just engage with an initial proposal and then not put a contract in front of them, and we there's a lot of danger in that a lot of MSP owners aren't fully appreciating, and I just want to share why we really need as an industry to start embracing contracts and stop avoiding them. We've got so much risk from litigation, probably more than ever, uh, because of the cybersecurity risks and threats out there, and uh, we really need to utilize contracts to protect us and our clients in that process. And the reason why we need to do that is we've been very poor at outlining what we actually deliver in our services. And most people avoid doing contracts because as small business owners, we're super uncomfortable because we don't understand the legals. And we avoid it as much as possible doing it. We throw up all the excuses. I've been guilty of this in the past where uh, we'll have the she'll be right attitude, and most often we have avoided issues. We've been around with our MSP for 20 years without having to need a contract. But the times are changing, and we need to professionalize our industry. And cyber security is one reason. Second is really clarity on what we provide. As technology is becoming broader and broader, I know we've made our sort of value prop has always been we cover everything. We'll take care of your IT, and it's been appropriate in the past with less savvy users. Um, I was going to say more simplified environments, but they were more complex back then. But they were more controlled. They were on premise. We could buy stuff. There was perpetual licensing, all this stuff back in the day. Where now we're more at the mercy from other providers than we ever have been. As an MSP, we resell other people's services. As an example, our BCDR. If we've got our clients on M365 and we're using whatever BCDR solution to back up M365, we're at the mercy of what that solution delivers. Now, if we're not clear about the availability of data, the issue that they're tied specifically into that product, and if it's shifted, they'll lose all that history and data. We haven't outlined that with our clients, and that has two risks. One, obviously litigation if something does go wrong, and the client more often than not will utilize an insurance company and make a claim. The insurance company will sue against our professional indemnity insurance. But on the flip side, even if it doesn't come to that litigation, there's no clarity for the client, and we have to dance around uh, and keep playing smoke and mirrors games with clients, which none of us want to be in that position with. So clearly defining our offerings and our services in a contract makes that a lot easier. We can just go back to that, look at the service description, and tell our client it's one key component to having mature contracts. The second is what a lot of people aren't realizing is how much it devalues your business when you're going to sell. And there's a lot of MSPs owners that have been doing this for 20 years and are looking to sell in the next 6 months to 2 to 3 years. And without that contract, the business value can drop significantly, and you don't appreciate that until you start getting the offers in from the buyers, because we're seeing it. Wow, we've had these clients for 20 years. We've got these fantastic relationships. That's a fantastic relationship with you as the owner, not as the new company. And what you'll find is from a buyer's perspective, if I was looking to buy, if we don't have that sort of contracted engagement, there's a lot more risk of the clients leaving. And I've seen the reality that it does. It just takes that event of, oh, you as the owner are leaving, our relationships aren't there anymore. Well, we'll go look. And as a buyer, it's a huge risk when I'm trying to make a return on my investment. So even if the contracts may still be able to be broken, etc., it's more of a sign of maturity that it's not, the relationships aren't just built on a handshake, they're actually built on that mature engagement of explaining to the client what they're getting, how much they're paying, what's the expectations. And the added advantage is if they're then contracted to terms, then there's more likelihood of guaranteed returns. So when you're looking at running an MSP, whether you're long-term established and you're looking at exiting, or if you're just starting out, or somewhere in between, contracts are extremely important. And so obviously none of us are lawyers, and the difficulty we always come across is we go to a lawyer, it ends up being big money. We feel like we're having to do all the work anyway, and we're not necessarily understanding the process and feeling like we're getting any value out of what we're doing. And there are alternatives to that. There are services now that specialize in the technology space, specialize for MSPs. But the process and how we should engage in this is looking at not just that cost outlay of what we're providing as a hard cost, but understanding the risk mitigation that we're doing, and then the value that we're increasing in the business. And that's a very big maturity step for a lot of MSP owners. But once you start thinking that way, when you actually engage in the process to build out the contracts, you will view it as a different process. You know, as a small business owner, you typically see contracts as a cost. It's a necessary evil. It's a bit like how a lot of clients used to see us back in the day. Why do we even need this kind of stuff? But when you've got this different level of maturity and looking at things differently, what it does is when you embrace the process, not only will you understand the terms and conditions of what you're offering, and if you take the time to actually outline your service description, you'll find it's a very transformative process for your business, because as soon as you start understanding what you're delivering and you actually write it down, all of a sudden your sales team knows what they're selling. All of a sudden the service delivery know what they're supposed to be managing and maintaining, and to what levels and what standards, and it will drive profitability. So you'll get a return on investment from the hard costs with hard margin, but you'll also reduce the risks that you're potentially opening yourself up that you don't know, and then you've got the longer term business value as a part of that. And the final thing that I'll add is, when you're building your contracts, is keep to a simple structure. Have your master services agreement, your terms and conditions. Have a services based contract for the different things that you provide. Don't mash everything up, because a BCDR service is very different to a standard support offering compared to a cybersecurity offering. If you can outline that and you understand it, then you can have the conversations with your clients. And at the moment, if you're going through that process, and a lot of MSPs are scared of contracting clients that have never been contracted, use insurance companies as the big bad guy. Just go to your clients and say, well, we need to do these contracts because our insurance companies won't insure us anymore. It's a necessary must. And we will explain to you what this is and what we're providing, what you aren't, and outline. It gives you that ability to have those sort of different conversations. So if you don't have contracts, look into it. Reach out if you need to point out in the right direction to the right people to do it. But definitely jump in and doing it. You're ticking time bomb if you don't have them. Hopefully this has helped, and I'll be back for another thought bubble in the future.